What's good, guys? It's TSG. In today's video, we're going to be having a look at the latest council notes, breaking it down, picking it apart, and really updating everyone with the latest and greatest with what's going on behind the scenes. Let's get into it. So starting off as always, we're going to have a look at all the attendees, and it does look like every single council member was there to make it, which means that it was a very productive council meeting. So one of the things that's been in discussion for quite some time now is this capital raise. We're aware that we do actually have enough runway for quite some time, but there are some in the team that just want that little extra cushioning, which is why this is in discussion. So the idea looking at it now is that they're actually looking to bring on a strategic partner in some way. I'm actually not too sure what that means or how that's actually going to play into this, but they are making a statement that the treasury would never go under the 10% token allocation. And obviously we're going to need that 10% for revenue distribution to make sure that the DAO is actually self-sustaining. So we don't want to go to a point where we're going under that. So they're trying to find out solutions and really how to deal with this with the current situation. They also mentioned right here that typical capital raises are actually limited to institutional investors only because of regulations. And although regulations are changing and none of it's really set in stone just yet, we're not sure what we can and can't do. But for the time being, what they're saying is that it's best to limit the risk within the legal framework and kind of just stick with that. If my interpretation of this statement is correct, that is what I believe that it means. The next point that they discuss is actually something I'm very excited about, and that's Illuvium Zero earning. We know already that, truth be told, Illuvium Zero was meant to come out 4 to 8 weeks after the land sale. I'm not even going to count. It's way beyond that now. The reason for the initial push was for Grant, the art director that really wanted to overhaul the visuals to make sure that the product we did put out was at a AAA quality. So it looks like we've done that already. We've achieved that, and we're just fine-tuning a couple of things on the internal, on the back end. But now it looks like there's actually more that we can do with this. And now it looks like there's a presentation coming internally for an additional revenue source or sources, which could reduce the amount that we actually even need for the strategic raise. So whatever that is, that would actually be incredible. That means that we're not going to have to be raising in a bear market. There's going to be other ways that we can generate the revenue and capital. So whatever that is, I'm really excited to see what this idea is and the implications of that and what it could mean moving forward. The second half of this for Illuvium Zero earning, I think, is very important. So secondly, if this means we can't release before the end of the year, we would skip the revenue and put it in the following build. So no matter what, we are going to get Illuvium Zero this year based on what we're saying. Again, none of this is set in stone. Again, these are just things that we're trying to do internally and push for. These are our goals. If we can't get that revenue before the end of the year, we're still going to get the product, and they'll implement the earnings and the revenue generation in the next build. There has been a lot of conversation around Illuvium Zero as well in regards to whether we're going to get blueprints or not. I do believe that the alpha build is going to have some blueprints. It is going to be limited, but we are trying to do what we can to give back to the community. For those that have been patient and stuck with us throughout this entire thing, we do want to find a way where we can say thank you to the community. The third point from this meeting is council cohesiveness. And this is something that's been on my mind for a very long time. As most of you guys know, governance is an important part of the DAO. For me specifically, I really find this fascinating. I think it's got an important role to play. But truthfully, and I'm going to say it publicly, I don't think it's been optimized in the greatest ways. I think there's a lot of work that we need to do there, and that's exactly what we're working on right now. The biggest thing here is that governance and the council should actually be a value add to the team and not a hindrance. And I understand why that the Forge didn't go through beforehand. Personally, I would have been fine to let it go through and amend it, but because of the way that things were done, we did miss out on the opportunity to raise at whatever price it was back then. So these are just consequences that we need to accept, and we're trying to move forward from that and adjust the count so we're not making mistakes and fumbles like that in the future. So the next step forward is actually governance V2, and that is something that Dick has been working on in the back end with a lot of really smart people. I am a part of the team. I'm not saying that because I am smart, but I mean, I am a part of that process, and there are things that we're working on in the back end, really defining certain roles, making sure that everyone is represented in the correct way by the correct people, and really trying to streamline the process of IIPs and these type of discussions so that the council, the top council, actually is able to make educated decisions very quickly in a convenient manner where, again, it's a value add to the team and it doesn't hinder the team, and they're still representing the community in the way that everybody wants. I do have to say the things that I am seeing with Governance V2 are very exciting. I believe it's going to be not even a step forward. I think it's going to be leaps forward. I think we're making real good progress with it, and I do implore you guys to be a little bit patient with us as we're working on it, fine-tuning it, And I think the majority of people are actually going to be very, very pleased with what they see when that does come to light. The fourth point here is about the merchandise revenue distribution. So we're starting to see a lot of the merch. We've seen the plushies, we've seen some of the attire, we've seen a couple of things coming out with merch, and we understand that that is something that we're going to. We have heard publicly that we are looking to launch the merch store before Christmas. Personally, I don't think that's coming to light. I think it might be slightly after that, but the major part is now that merch is going to be a player in this game, we do need to start looking at revenue distribution and how that's going to happen. So obviously, from what they're saying here, that all of these real life merchandising does have a cost to produce. So the revenue that actually gets distributed to all of the stakers is not the 100% of the revenue gained. It is going to be the profit, essentially, is what this line is saying. For anyone that knows anything about business, we're obviously playing with a margin right here. So let's say something costs $3 to make and we sell it for $10. So we're going to take that $3 away to cover the cost of production, and the revenue that's going to be split is the $7 on top of that. It's going to be the profit on top of that. So that is what's going to be distributed back to the stakers. It's not going to be the 100% of the $10, because the DAO does need to be self-sustaining, and they do need to kind of pay off the cost of the merchandise and then share the profits on top of that. And the final point here again is about governance V2, talking about how we're now setting up meetings with the internal team to exactly find out the scope of work that's required, how we can do this, how we can implement this. All of this will be given to you guys in the form of an IIP for us to discuss and vote on. But like I said, we're making great progress with it. We've really come a long way in the last couple of weeks. And I think what we're going to be looking at is very, very positive for the DAO. Personally, I want to get involved in what they're doing on a deeper level as well. I am already part of writing it out, giving feedback to Dick. And we've got, like I say, really, really smart people working on it on the back end, community members and team members. And it's looking really, really good. So I think it's going to give a lot more opportunity for community members to be involved in this process. And I'm very, very excited to see how it kind of plays out in the future and the benefit that it adds to the DAO and the community. Alrighty guys, so that's it for today. That was the council notes. I appreciate you guys sticking around. Let me know out of the points, what was the biggest takeaway for you? What are you most excited for? And what are your thoughts there? But anyway, appreciate you all for sticking around. If you like this type of content, as always, like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.